Investing is the secret to building wealth. If all you have to your name is $1,000 and you're looking for a way to grow it into something much bigger, then you're in the right place.
Through the next 10 years, actually returns averaged about 50% a year, and I think they were 37 points better than the Dow per year, something like that. But that I was working with a tiny amount of money.
So, you've saved up $1,000 and are planning to invest it in the stock market or invest it in even more risky assets. Firstly, congrats on this, because you've already done more than most people. You've saved $1,000, something the majority of Americans don't do. Unfortunately, I have some bad news. Just tossing your $1,000 into the stock market is probably not going to do a whole lot for you. Let's take an example. Imagine that the year you invest your money, the stock market has a major upswing and generates a return of 25% over the year. This is 15% points above the average, and most professional investors would jump in joy to celebrate a return like this. Now, this would be amazing if you had invested a larger amount, like $100,000 or more. But what about your $1,000? Well, this would only bring back a return of $250, which really won't change your life at all. It's just not that much for the time it takes. Some of you may think that the best place to put your money would be in a savings or CD since it gives guaranteed returns, right? Well, let's have a look and see how much money that could generate. As of February 2023, the average return from a savings account is a pathetically low 0.33%. That means putting your money in a savings account for 5 years would give you a net total of $1,106. Yikes. While you get a guaranteed return, you'll never build wealth this way. What about CDs, or certificates of deposit? For those who don't know, they are basically like savings accounts, except that you can't touch the money for a certain amount of time unless you want to pay a hefty fee. Let's see how this would play out for you. The average CD rate for a 5-year term is 1.37%, which might not sound that bad, but it is. Your $1,000 would grow to a measly $1,068. That's enough to buy you a nice pair of jeans or some new shoes, but who wants to wait 5 years just to be able to buy a pair of jeans or shoes? Once again, this won't make you wealthy. And even if you were to invest this money in the stock market for 5 years at an average return of 7%, then you'd still only end up with $1,400. This is by far the best option. But if all you can do is make a one-time investment of $1,000, then it's just not going to matter. But don't worry, it's not all bad. There's good news. There actually is something you can do with just $1,000 that will allow you to make more money so you can invest more money and thus grow your wealth.
Most people go through life using up a very small part of their potential. And so anything you do that invests in yourself, that's the best investment you can possibly make. And then I would follow my passion.
As Warren Buffett said, the best thing you can do is educate yourself and invest in yourself. That means learning new skills that can be of use to any company you work for now and in the future. The more valuable you are, the more you'll be paid. It's really simple when you think of it that way. You can invest in yourself through things like books, webinars, seminars, or courses. The more skills you have, the more valuable you are to companies, and the less likely you are to get fired. Which unfortunately is happening all over the country right now. Some examples of skills you can learn are marketing and coding, which are both becoming highly valuable assets in just about any industry. Thousands of companies are popping up every day teaching people how to code. Coding boot camps and online courses are becoming increasingly popular as well. But most of them cost tens of thousands of dollars. So if all you have is $1,000, that's probably out of the question. Personally, I decided to learn digital marketing to earn an extra few $1,000 per month. I took a $7 course taught by an expert and learned high-income skills in just 15 days. I've included a link in the description to the same course in case you wanted to try it out. Fair warning, it might blow your mind and go way beyond your expectations. You will learn high-income skills that even most MBA programs costing tens of thousands of dollars don't teach. Whatever you choose to learn, whether it's digital marketing or something else, the goal is to look for skills that are highly sought after, but not many people have. A famous quote from Charlie Munger that supports this goes as follows: Develop into a lifelong self-learner through voracious reading, cultivate curiosity, and strive to become a little wiser every day. The more you learn, the more you grow. And the more you grow, the more your money and happiness will grow, creating another income source. The great thing about this generation is that it's extremely easy to add another source of income because of the internet. Because the internet doesn't have a bedtime, you can make it work for you 24/7. In fact, a powerful quote from Buffett confirms the importance of this. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. And who wants to work their whole lives? I don't know about you, but I sure don't. The internet has also impacted other aspects of money making. From my own experience, digital marketing is an opportunity that has completely changed because of the internet. It's actually existed for over 40 years, but now due to the internet, you can reach millions of people around the world from a simple YouTube video. Using the internet, an average marketer can generate more sales in a day than the top salesman in the 80s could make in a month. So you have a steady income, you have $1,000, and you've decided to invest in your own education and start some sort of business or side hustle. Great! But the question is, what else can you do? Now, the first and most common way to get a source of passive income is through the stock market. But when I say stock market, I don't mean it in the way that everyone thinks of it. For most people, the stock market is a place where you can blindly dump your money into lots of different popular companies. For example, you can buy stock from companies like Tesla, IBM, or Google. When you buy shares of these companies, or any other, you own a small part of the company. When they make money, you make money. If they lose money, you lose it too. This happens either through the price per share going up or down, or getting paid more or less with dividends. But in the words of our favorite investing legend, the way most people should invest in the stock market is through index funds.
14 presidents, 7 Republicans, 7 Democrats. We've had world wars. We had 9/11. We had the Cuban Missile Crisis. We have all kinds of things. The best single thing you could have done on March 11th, 1942, when I bought my first stock, was just buy an index fund.
For most of us, Warren Buffett's word is enough. We trust his advice. But for my more skeptical viewers, let's use an example to drive this point home. Imagine that you put all your funds into Tesla, but for some reason the car battery on all the latest models just stops charging with no clear fix. This leaves thousands of people not able to drive their cars and potentially causes dangerous accidents. To make matters worse, there's no way to fix them except by replacing the entire car. Unfortunately, Tesla can't afford to replace all these cars, and on top of that, they got hit with a bunch of lawsuits from people who were hurt and the insurance companies. This causes them to go bankrupt. Now you have your money in this company, and without any fault of your own, you lose everything you have. But the opposite can happen too. Let's say Tesla engineers develop a battery that charges twice as fast and can drive you twice as far on a single charge. This would boost Tesla's sales massively, and now the amount you invested doubles and shows no sign of slowing down anytime soon. That's the thing about investing in individual companies. You can get massive returns, but it's also way more risky, because if you don't make a good choice, you can lose everything. A good rule of thumb to follow is that if you don't have time to study companies and learn about investing, then it's best to avoid it altogether. There's more to investing than picking the next hype company. But this is where index funds come in. Index funds are essentially a basket of companies that you can invest in, meaning that you can skip the whole process of trying to find the next best company. Some examples are like investing in the general market, a specific sector like tech, or even companies that give dividends. The best part is that these companies are very easy to buy. In fact, they're just as easy to buy as individual stocks. The one thing I have to tell you though is that you're not guaranteed to make money when you invest, even with index funds. So always do your due diligence and don't blindly do what you're told. Here are some examples of things you can invest in. As a start, you could go with the general market funds, which are safe and reliable. It's a great beginner option. Two of the most popular choices are VOO and SPY. These will give you exposure to the top 500 companies in the US. What you can expect is that if the US economy rises, so will the fund. And if the economy goes down, then you can expect the fund to go down too. If you want to get involved with tech, you can go with VGT or QQQ. These will expose you to companies like Microsoft, AMD, or Google. Each of these funds are made up of different companies, so make sure you do some research to see what you like more. Lastly, if you want dividend payouts, then consider VYM or SDY. When you invest in this fund, you'll get exposure to a bunch of companies that pay you to invest in them. When you're looking to invest in these funds, there's a way that'll generate the most bang for your buck. What you want to do is, anytime you get a paycheck, take a portion of it, like 10 to 15%, and automatically place it into your account. This way you won't accidentally spend money you should be using for investing. As Buffett famously said, "Do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving." The second way you can invest $1,000 and additional money after is through real estate. Of course, $1,000 isn't enough to buy a house that you can rent out to someone, but there are plenty of other options available now thanks to the internet. For example, you can use a crowdfunding real estate platform that allows you to place small amounts, even just $1, with other investors to fund real estate. So if the real estate you invested in makes money, so do you. If the property value goes up, you get more out of it too. These platforms primarily pay through passive income that's gained through rent. However, it's important to know that this money isn't liquid, since it's in physical real estate. It's not as easy to sell a home as it is to sell a stock. But if you're comfortable with investing in physical real estate, don't have the capital to buy your own property, and aren't concerned with not having access to your money for some time, then this is the way to go. Lastly, you can get access to indirect real estate through REITs, or real estate investment trusts. With REITs, you invest in a company that invests in real estate, but it operates the same way. You get paid dividends from the money that comes in through rent and other sales, but without being tied up in physical properties. REITs also tend to pay higher dividends as the companies are required to give 90% of the profits to shareholders. Some examples of REITs are VNQ and USRT. If you don't want to invest in any way, here's something else you should consider doing with your money. Pay off any high-interest debt ASAP. Paying off debt early is just like a return on investment. Let's say you have a 4% interest rate loan, like a car, mortgage, or student loan. If you pay it off a year early, then you've effectively made a 4% return because that's one extra year you don't have to pay the bank. So if you're afraid to invest in the stock market right now or don't want to hop into real estate, then this is your next best bet. It will allow you to have much more cash available as you have fewer expenses every month. The faster you pay off debt, the less interest you'll have, and more money you can keep in your pockets. $1,000 is nice to have, but investing it or using it to pay off $1,000 of debt won't make you rich or change your life long term. You need to boost your earnings. And if you want to do this without getting another job, click the link in the pinned comment.